Hello everybody and welcome to the last part of Learn to Love Fallout 76. Now this is the final part. So I am not going to be looking at any one thing specifically. It's going to be a general look at everything and just seeing really, you know, what I genuinely think of it, what I feel people need to do, you know, the problems I've noticed and all the stories that I've heard. Now, as far as the video is concerned, I am just going to be playing. I'm not doing anything specific. In fact, I'm following one of the story missions that is somewhat early on, but I mean, you can't really do it unless you're in a group at level, I would say 15, or on your own level 20. So, you know, it's a little way in. Okay, so Fallout 76. It's very interesting. It's very interesting with the comments that I've been hearing and the problems that I've seen people have. My thoughts and views of this game. Now, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos of a lot of different people, not just gaming necessarily. But I watched a podcast the other day in which I saw two people discussing this game. One of them is a hardcore Fallout player, and the other one is not. The way the first one plays Fallout is the way that I play Fallout. They very much search every building. They will search for every little collectible. It's what they do. It's how they play the game, and that's how I play the game. You know, I wander past a building and I see it on my map. I'm going to go to that building, and when I arrive at it, I'm going to go through it and see what's in there. That's, you know, it's the way that I like to play the game, and that's the way they liked to play the game. The second person plays the Fallout games very, very differently, in that all they really want to do is complete the story missions. They don't really want to wander. In their own words, they don't have time to go around all the different buildings and collecting all the little collectibles, because they've got other things to do, they've got other games to play. So they won't do that. All they will do is load the game up, complete the main story mission, some of the side missions, and then that's it, they're done. So they were both discussing this game and their own feelings towards the game. And I can understand from the second person's point of view that this is definitely not the game for you. I'm actually enjoying the missions that I've been getting for this game. You know, they're not just necessarily go collect this, go find this, go speak here. You know, they are very, what I would consider to be Fallout style missions. For example, the one I'm currently completing is an ounce of prevention, in which I am currently looking at creating a cure, shall we say, an inoculation against the scorched virus, so I can't get it. Now, you know, that fits in very well with the world. I had to go out and I had to find a T fuse. That fuse is going to power the machinery. I then had to find 3 different blood samples, and I'm now going to be coming back to find myself an antidote or a cure or an inoculation, whatever you really want to call it. You know, I think it's great. I think it's all the missions I've come across so far. You see, I don't feel like I need to have an NPC giving me these missions. I like the fact that I'm kind of one step behind the overseer every time, you know. The complete lack of NPCs is slightly weird, just because as far as Fallout games are actually concerned, we know that this is very much the first chronologically. And we know that there are NPCs and people alive in all the other games. So it's weird that in the entire area of West Virginia that they've given us, there isn't one single person, like, non-player based. Because technically, all the players that we see are supposed to be the other survivors from the same vault as us. And it's like, okay, I suppose that's fine, but why are there no other people? Is everyone got the scorched virus, apparently, you know? So, that is a little bit weird. That is a little bit weird. But purely looking at, like, the way the game plays and the missions and things, if you're the kind of player who enjoys going around and looking in all the different buildings, I mean, most of them have missions. For example, my miscellaneous mission, open the miner's locker. Now, I received that just because I found a couple of miners, and when I killed one, he just happened to have a key on him. I don't know if it's a mission that everyone's going to get, or if it's just one I happen to stumble across here. I have no idea. But it's really interesting, because I now want to know what's in that. But every time I go to approach it, I'm still a little bit out. I need to go up a couple of missions first, really, so... Now, there are an awful lot of videos out there absolutely slating the game, saying it's broken, saying it's not playable in its current state. You can watch me right now playing this game in one fluid motion. I don't cut. This entire video isn't cut in any way. This is me playing the game for about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't have any issues. I literally have no issues. No glitching, no problems, no nothing. Now, I am playing it on PC. I don't know if that is an issue or not, because everybody's problems seems to be on console. So I would say, if you haven't picked it up yet and it's still something you're considering getting, if you can, get it for the PC. I would say, with what people are saying, I don't know this is the case because I haven't tried it myself, but with what people are saying, I've got a baseball outfit on. But yeah, with what people are actually saying, it feels like the biggest issues are with console play, not PC. The PC seems to be definitely the better option out of everything. So I will say 100%, if you're going to do it now, then definitely play it on the PC. But then I think it also comes down to how perfect the game has to be for you to play it. You know, like, for example, when it just went into the bench just now, there was part of the wall missing when it went in. That doesn't bother me, I don't care. It wasn't physically missing when I came out. It was just a little slight missing pixels here and there. I don't care. You know, I don't lose frames in fighting. I lose health in fighting because I'm not quick enough. You know, I'm not blaming the game for me not being very good at it. I'm not very good at it. And I am going to call some people out, not by name, but there are definitely some people who simply aren't very good at the game and are blaming things just because they're not very good at it, you know. And it comes to a point where it's like, you need to really just move on to something else. There are so many other games. If you don't like it, well, that's fine, that's your choice, but just play something else. I don't care if you don't like it. You know, it doesn't affect me or anyone else. Now, obviously, I have come across some things that I feel are an issue, and the main one being the camps. The problem with the camps are, I just can't be asked to keep building them when they disappear. Now, I know what that means. That means I have to try to find somewhere that I can just place my camp and not be what's it called? I can place my camp somewhere that someone else wouldn't have picked, so it's so that when I log into other servers, it's not going to disappear because it's going to overlap with someone else's camp. But that's practically impossible to know. And with the amount of people playing Fallout now, if they do patch the game out and it becomes a better game and it runs a lot smoother, then the problem you're going to have is there's going to be a lot more people playing the game. So there's going to be a lot more camps around the place. So, you know, it's one of those, I just don't know. I don't know how, you know, how it's going to work in the future. I don't know quite if that's going to fix itself or what they can even do about that problem. Because everybody wants a camp and there is only so much space. So, you know, I think they're kind of doing the best they can with camps. But I don't know, that's annoying for me. I just can't bring myself to actually build a camp if it means that I'm going to lose it after a couple of days of logging in and out, you know. And on the same vein, there are, let's say, control points on the map. I think they are a great idea, but I don't know that they work in this context. I think there's a slight issue with them. Now, the control points will be a little, I think it's like a wrench and a screwdriver crossed together on the map. And when you hover your mouse over them, it will give you a list of every item that is currently available for harvesting in this area. It will also give you the life of the main control station, and it will tell you if anyone already controls it. So your job, if you wish to do so, is you take control of it, of that station. You then build collectors, and you can build generators, you can build defenses, turrets, you can build crafting benches, you can build stash crates. Anything you want can be placed down in this area. And then every now and then there will be waves of enemies as an event, and you essentially have to defend it, because if you don't, they will attack the main control center, and once the life of the main control center has gone, you no longer control it. So it is very much at that point in your interest to defend it. Also, other players can come along and take it from you, so you need to defend against them as well. They can also, which I think is a bit of a glitch if we're being honest, they can also just come along and take stuff out of your collectors. Now, that doesn't seem right to me, because then why, as a player, why would I attack the control center and then build all my own equipment when I can just take all of the stuff that they've made out of their collector? What would be the point? You know, it feels like in these areas the collector should be locked, because then it gives me a reason to want to try and take that control point for me, so that I can then build the collectors myself. But the problem that I have is I feel that this game is much more the kind of game in which I'm going to play it for an hour, maybe two at the max per day. Because I think if I play it for longer than that, I am going to very quickly burn through these missions. And I don't want to do that. I just want to play the game, you know. And the same with most MMOs. You know, there's not a massive amount of missions. It is kind of bog standard type missions. So the one thing I don't want to do is just burn through the game, burn through the missions, and then not have anything to do, or only have the events to do. You know, I don't want to do that. So for me, I'm enjoying myself and I'm taking my time. But what that means is, the moment I log out of a server, any control point that I was in control of, I lose. I'm no longer in control of it anymore, because the moment you log on to another server, someone else will control that point. And the problem for me is, what that means is,
it means you must have completed my work and inoculated.
I just don't see that I want to necessarily build any of this stuff. I don't want to go and control a control point for an hour and then that's it, because very little is really going to be built or collected, shall we say, from any of the collectors within that time. I can build a junk collector and a water purifier, and I can build like an iron collector, and I can put them all in the right places and put generators down, and, you know, build a bunch of generators and get them all working. And then after I've played it for at most 2 hours, I'm going to have hardly anything in my collectors, and then I'm closing the game. And what was the point of that, you know? It feels like these collection points are much more for if you're willing to play the game for like 6 to 12 hours. And it just feels like it doesn't work with the style of game that it is. I'm seeing them, and then I'm just walking past. I just don't, you know, it just don't see the point for me. It feels just kind of counterintuitive to own one when you're not really going to be on long enough to make the most out of them. It just doesn't feel right. it was funny. One of the people that I watched on a different podcast was actually complaining that the missions were too much like an MMO missions. You know, go out, get 5 of these, go out, kill 12 of these. But it is an MMO. And I think that's where people need to really get their mind around. If this is the game that you want to try, then this is the thing that I would say. Yes, the name of the game is Fallout, but it is actually an MMO first. So you have to really be into MMOs. You're going to have to understand that there's going to be some grinding here and there. You know, to finish the mission I'm physically doing now. Here's the Mothman. To finish the mission that I'm physically doing now, I have had to grind up to level 19. Because when I actually got the mission itself, I couldn't get here because it was just too higher level enemies. And I was just struggling. So I had to grind a couple of levels just because I'm not in a group more than anything else. And I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. But I can understand people not being happy with that. So I would say definitely it's an MMO first. You have to be expecting there to be MMO missions. If you're coming on to expect the traditional Fallout experience, then a lot of it is here. For me, you know, I've heard a couple of people say this is, you know, it's so different from Fallout 3. I don't think they remember Fallout 3 for what it actually is. You know, I played Fallout 3 2 months ago, and for me, it's exactly the same. The same basic missions, the same collectibles. It runs very, very similarly to Fallout 3. And, you know, I'm willing to look at it from a fair point of view, from how the game actually plays. And I don't see much of a difference at all. Not really. Now, if there are glitches for you, and the game doesn't really play, or it's very bouncy, or it's rubber bandy, or you lose frames and you just can't aim at enemies, I understand completely, 100%. That game sounds broken and is definitely a problem. And some people, their console experiences are that bad. So look, if that's the case, then by all means, there are issues, and probably wait until they patch the game. Funnily enough, the day that I'm recording this audio, there is an update coming out for PCs. I don't know if it's for all of them or if it's just for PCs, but there is definitely an update on my PC, so that's interesting. The one good thing about that is they're going to be expanding the amount of storage space, and that's so cool because I literally just reached my limit, so that's fantastic. I do need to go for everything that I've got, but that kind of thing, you know, that was one of the big issues with a lot of people, is that you can't store anything. But they're changing that now, so that's something to look forward to in the future. So yes, so I've done a little bit of waffling, but I would say overall, for me, it's a very positive experience. It's a very fun and enjoyable game. I haven't had anywhere near the amount of glitches and problems that some people out there have had. And yes, I've seen some video clips since that I can understand why their game is broken and why they feel it's not playable. If you haven't got the game yet and it's something you're considering doing, definitely go for the PC version, because that appears to be a much more finished product, and I've had no issues really. If you're looking for a very much more traditional Fallout style game, then for me this is it. I don't have any issues with this. If you're the kind of person who just really likes to follow the missions, then I like the missions. I think there's plenty around, but I can understand if you do them quite quickly, then you will burn through them and you'll run out. So I wouldn't advise you play this like a regular RPG and just kind of burn through it. I would say definitely take your time, a couple of hours a day, you know, you'll slowly get through it. And especially when you're running into events and things to level up bits, and like to do a little bit of grinding, you can go into some of the different events and bits and pieces. So yeah, I enjoy it, I love it. And you know what, I'm really enjoying it. Wandering around looking for bits and pieces, really enjoying it. So I would say definitely take a look, you know. If it's really not the kind of game you want to play, or you don't feel that it's ready for you yet, that's fine. They're patching it all the time, and I think in a couple of months it will definitely be to the level for you to play. So thank you very much for watching. Going forward, I am going to be running a series using Fallout 76 in which I am basically going to be discussing what I have been doing the previous week, because I've been finding some fun and interesting bits and pieces and having real adventures. So I'm going to be giving that a try, seeing, you know, if anything happens that week that's worth talking about. So keep an eye out for that, see what you think of that. Look out for the next Learn to Love series. There is another one on the way. It'll probably be in a couple of weeks now, with Christmas being so close, but we'll see. And I will see you next time.